And we'll be sending you guys out a link to this at the once we get it uploaded onto YouTube and all that. So anyways, the idea here for the getting started with Bucket webinar is I'm just going to walk you through all the screens, kind of show you what everything does, and explain, how to navigate the system, where to go to do what, and then also I want to show you guys, pretty much give you the tools you need and the instructions you need to go and start your first survey or your segmentation funnels. Okay. At the end of this call, I'm going to invite you to schedule an appointment with a Bucket specialist. That could either be myself or one of our other experts, people that have used Bucket a lot and have built, some of us have built hundreds of surveys and segmentation funnels, and this is a completely free service that we offer. So you'll be able to schedule a one-on-one call at the end of this. I'll send you the link out, and so it'll be probably like the last 5-10 minutes or so of this call, and you can jump on that. It's totally free. I'll explain it a little more detail here shortly. So stick around for that if you want some help. All right, so like I said, the top objective here is, yes, I want to show you all the screens, but by the time we're done, I feel like you will know how to build a discovery survey, right? And you can always come back and watch recordings and do that, but you'll at least know how to build the survey, and you'll know how to launch a segmentation funnel. All right? And so let's just go ahead and jump right in. The screen here says building a discovery survey. We're going to talk about that, but first thing I want to do, let me just jump over to Bucket. And I want to kind of cover some of the things that you see when you first log in. I'm going to go off script a little bit here. So when you first get into Bucket, when you first log in, you're going to see this screen, and you'll see mine has a bunch of numbers on it. Yours, if you're brand new, all your numbers will say 000. And these are account-wide statistics. So this isn't for any specific funnel or survey. This is your entire account. So you can access, you just get a quick snapshot of your numbers as soon as you log in. You can come down here and get a graphical representation of how your account is growing over time. And you can just kind of get some ideas of your audiences, and we'll cover all this stuff here, each one of these, so you know exactly what you're looking at here in a second. But this is, so when you see this screen, these are your options. This is what's available. Now, you do have the option here to do these little one-click create a survey, segmentation funnel, or an audience. I personally have never once used any of these, right? So what I do is I use this menu up at the top, right? So if you want to create a new survey, I always click on the new survey or the discover menu item at the top. If I want to create a new funnel, I come up here and I click on segment, and then you can do that down here. One thing I would definitely want to point out is this button right over here, this help button. This is where you can get help with anything. Literally anything that has to do with Bucket, you should be able to find help in here. And we've got it broken down into these really nice categories, so you can, again, come in here and get access to help very quickly. There's these two menu items here, templates and settings. I want to take a quick look at these with you real fast before we jump into building a survey or building a segmentation funnel. Let's just take a quick look at templates. This is brand new. Like, this is literally just came out. I think it was announced at the Ask Live event, which was an event in Vegas last week. And so it's brand new. And so what you have the ability to do is, instead of trying to build a survey or build a segmentation funnel from scratch, what we've done is we've created these templates where you can come in and find something that fits what you're trying to do, and just click the button and have basically Bucket will load it all up for you. So if you wanted to create a survey, you could click on survey, and then you've got these two survey options. So you've got one that says, find buckets and learn about your market. So it's a discovery survey, or you've got a confirmation discovery survey. These are, these we don't have to get. I'll go super into detail what that means later on this afternoon in our next webinar. But just so you can see here, you've got the ability to, instead of going and building everything from scratch, you can come in and load a template into your bucket account just by clicking on use this template. You can preview it and all of that. And like I said, later on this afternoon, I'm going to go super deep in this. But if you're playing in Bucket all day today, or if you not all day, but if you happen to be in Bucket and you wanted to launch something new, just jump over and just play with it. Load some of them in. You can load as many as you want, delete them, and I'll show you exactly how to do that here in a second. So that's the templates screen. The settings screen, this is another very important one. This is where you're going to come to get your API key if you're going to be using Zapier, and I'll explain what I mean by that here in a second. Or if you're going to be if you want to add a custom domain to your account. So a lot of times, if you're going to be doing your segmentation funnels or quizzes or your outbound marketing, your front-end marketing, I should say, you're going to want to use your own domain. You don't have to use app.bucket.io all the time. You can use that. We have several free domains for you to use. But if you ever want to add your own custom domain, you just click on custom domains, come over here, follow the instructions for adding one in. They're very simple. And we have, over in the help, I know we have some really good tutorials on just how to do it. And so you can definitely follow those directions. Add your custom domain in here. You can see I've got this one here, annuityassessment.online. I use that for some of the financial stuff that I've got inside this account. We do have direct integrations with, oh, hello. Looks like a new one that I just, I love finding new stuff when I log in to do these webinars. So we have direct integrations with MailChimp, Infusionsoft, Entreport, and apparently now Drip. And so if you're using any of these four email service providers, you can directly integrate with those. I'll go into a little bit of detail on some of these later on in this webinar, just to show you the screens. But basically, just to add if you're using any of these, to add that into your account, you just drag it over here, follow the directions, API key, account ID, hit save, and your integration will be added, and you can access it later from your survey or segmentation funnel screen. So remember, if you need to add a custom domain or add one of these four integrations, you click on settings, and then click on integrations, and boom, you just drag and drop it. For custom domain, just click on custom domain. All right. And if you need to access your API key, that's over here on my account. It's the first screen when you click on settings, and you've got it here. You'll just copy and paste it. Got it? I'm just going to check over here on questions. Just so you guys know, I see your questions coming in here. I see someone asking if you can have one or more custom domain. Yes, you can have more than one custom domain, David. Guys, keep throwing your questions in there. I'm not ignoring you. There's a lot of screens to cover, but I promise at the end of this call, I will go through and read every one of these and make sure before you get off, we'll do a full-blown Q&A, and I'll read all these out loud and back to you, and so we'll get your questions answered. But since I just happened to see this one, can you have more than one custom domain? Yes, you totally can, David. And that's the beauty of this. And one of the things that you'll see here as we go through it, that each one of your surveys and funnels can be totally white labeled. So if you're doing this for clients, each funnel or each survey can look and operate as though it was made specifically for that company or that brand. All right. Okay, so after that little short detour, why don't we get back into what you're here for, and I'll walk you through building your discovery survey. All right, so just a couple of quick points. And this is actually relevant to both building the survey and the segmentation funnels. The way that we've laid this thing out to make it super simple and so that you always know where you're at in the process, there are 4 workflow processes for each funnel and survey. So you've got your build phase, right? This is where you go in, you add the questions, you kind of build the skeleton, you make it look or work the way you want it to, right? Then you've got the design phase where you go in and you put the polish on, you make it look pretty, And then you've got your configure phase where you make sure all your tracking's right. You got your email provider hooked up to your bucket, and you've got all the configuration stuff in place. And then finally, once you've built it, designed it, and configured it, you go and publish so that you can start promoting your survey or your segmentation funnel to your audience. All right. So and you'll see as I walk through, you'll see each of these workflows in place. So we're going to start with, let's just go in here and take a look at the Discover survey. All right. So like I told you before, I don't use these, and I'll show you why right now, actually. So when you click on Discover, what I just did is I clicked on this Discover menu item at the top. You're going to see I never click on any of those buttons on the front. You can, I just never do, and here's why. I like seeing all my stuff, right? And so as you can see here, I've got tons of discovery surveys. What I like to do is build one out the first time, and then come in and clone it. So let me just walk you through how you would create the first one from scratch. So let's say you don't have any surveys in here. What you're going to do is you're going to come over here. You see where it says Create Discover Survey? You're going to click on that, and then you can either create from scratch or you can start from a template. Now, if you are just going to be doing a regular survey, I highly recommend starting with the template. And I pointed this out earlier. You can just click on Survey, and then if this is your first survey, you're sending it out to your customers for the first time, you can click on this Discovery Survey here. And typically what you'll do is you'll just click on Use. And we're just going to do that now. Like I said, later on, I'm going to unpack this entire thing. But what happens is when you click on Use, what happens is Bucket takes that template and loads the questions directly into your build phase. Remember I said there are 4 phases here. You've got build, design, configure, and publish. So now, and this is the build phase. You see we're on the build screen. Everything's already loaded for you. So what happens is you get a open-ended question. You see, you can tell by this little kind of paper up here. This is a long open-ended question. It's called a long text. So this means that a person can answer unlimited, put as much information as they want into that field. And so you can basically just come in here and edit the question. What I tell people, the way that they phrase this question is phrased around a popular method called the ask method. And basically what it does is it goes to the root of the problem and gets the best information back. And so we structured the question in the template to where all you really have to do is edit what's inside of these brackets here. So you see here when it comes to, in this case, reaching your peak performance as an executive, what is the single biggest challenge, frustration, or problem you've been struggling with? So again, as you can see, if all you did was edit this section to be focused on your customers or your audience's problem, then you're done. All you got to do is just whatever their problem is, put that in there, and then the rest of the question is pretty much taken care of. Does that make sense to everybody? I'm going to just hit cancel on this, and then I'm going to kind of walk you through the rest of these 2 questions just so you can see how they're made and what they do. These are both, you can tell if you look over here on the far left, they both have these little dots. That means it's a radio button. That means that they can only choose one answer. It's kind of like a yes or no, right? Multiple choice, but only one answer can be chosen. And just like we had before, this, as you can see, just a part of the template, any of these questions can be totally changed and made to be whatever you want it to be, right? Or you can just edit out the brackets. So like here, which of the following best describes your age, right? If you change that and say which of the following best describes your occupation, or whatever it is your business does, you can just change that in there. Or you can just, change the entire question completely. and again, you can also edit the responses. So right here it says I'm in my 20s. You can change that to 20s or plumber or whatever you want these things to be. And if there's too many options in here already, you can come in here and hit. See this? What I'm doing is I've just clicked on this right, these three dots on the far right. You see where it says delete, and I've removed one of the answers, and you can delete as many of those or all of them if you want, or just straight edit them out. Is this making sense to everybody so far? Just want to pop over here, just make sure, just I'm not getting like a bundle of questions. Somebody asked, do you leave the code in the in there? So like this, no. What you would do here is you would come over here and see where it says, which of the following best describes your job? Yeah, you want to take out that bracket because that's what it'll show up as a bracket if you leave it in there. We only put the brackets in there so you guys can see exactly what to take out, right? So those are two options. Now, as you see here, we've got this other question down here. If we were to create a paid program that helps you overcome blah blah blah, and then this is what's called a product demand question. Again, you don't have to know what any of these things are right now. You're going to have a chance to play with that, and I'm going to explain them in detail tonight. But this is so you know if it's the template that gets loaded in here has the radio buttons automatically added. Again, you can only choose one of those answers. But if you have a question that you want to give people multiple choices on, where they could choose as many boxes as they want, you'll use what's called a checkbox. See that? So you drag this over, and notice this one has the square with the check in it. And so you could have a question over here that will let them choose, one or more. So choose all that apply, basically. You've seen those questions before. So that's the difference between a checkbox and a radio. All right? Now, let's jump over here and look at this contact information screen really quick. This is where you're actually going to capture the contact of the person taking the survey. And so what happens is on this page is, I mean, just like the others, if you're using the template, honestly, all you really have to do is come in here and edit out what's over in the brackets. So the way you edit information on the contact info screen is you come over here on the far left. So this case, this is the headline, right? So what you're going to do is come over here and edit inside of this area over here. And I mean, what I recommend doing is, maybe just like highlighting it all, like do like a Control-A, Control-C, or whatever it is on Mac, and then maybe like pasting that into a like a notepad or something. Edit it all up, paste it back in, and then you're ready. You're good to go. Just to point out too, you have this option here for a phone number. If you don't want to have that on, you can click and turn it off. But if you leave it on, if you do collect the phone number, what Bucket will do, and I'll show you this in the reporting later, Bucket will actually analyze all the responses that come in that have a phone number attached to it, and they'll use that to help you score the responses later on. And I'll show you how important that is here in a second when we go and look at the reporting inside of Bucket for your surveys. All right? And I'm just going to discard the changes here. Now, the last thing to look at on this survey is the thank you page. You can, again, this can be completely customized. You can do whatever you want on this page. And I want to point a couple of things out, some really important stuff that you can do on this page that I think most people miss their first time around. So let's say in the beginning, you say, hey guys, I'm going to, if you take my survey, I'm going to give you a gift card to my e-commerce store, right? Or I'm going to give you a, I don't know, like a PDF that shows you how to do this, that, or the other, right? Whatever you call it, like basically you're bribing them to go and take your survey. Well, what you can do After they take the survey, you can take them to this thank you page, but what you can also do is actually deliver on what you promise two ways. Remember, we took their email address on the contact information screen, right? So you can always email it to them. I'm going to show you how to connect it to your email service provider here in a second. I showed you how to do like the integrations for Drip, Ontraport, MailChimp, and Infusionsoft earlier. I'll show you how to do it for all the others in a second. So you can always email it to them, but that you can also put that on your thank you page so they could go and get that deliverable as soon as they complete your survey. And the way you do that is you can edit any of this copy on this page, right? I mean, you can thank you, you got your headline, you got your sub headline, you can edit any of this. You can even add an image or a video. And if you do a video, just so you guys know, you can add videos throughout the app on different screens. But when you do it in a video, all you got to do is go to YouTube, Facebook, Wistia, and get the embed code and just paste the full embed code here, and it'll make the video show up. All right, or you can just put an image, right? We're going to just disable that for now. But any of these things you can turn on, edit it, or just straight up and disable it if you don't need it. But the cool thing is, and this is back to what I was talking about earlier about delivering on your bribe, if you are bribing them to take your survey, which a lot of people, most people do to some degree, you can come over here and turn on button, and you see here where you've got you've got your button text. So if you have like a download, you can put download now, and then link them directly to your download. If you have like a gift card, or I don't know, like a coupon code, or if you have a specific product page set up where they can go get a discount, or anything that you want, you can link them to that area and send them there from the thank you page. I mean, you can literally, if you just want to send them to your Facebook page to give you a like, you can do that too. I'm just telling you, on the thank you page, you just edit this button URL, and you can send them off to get or do whatever you want them to on the thank you page. Make sense? So now what we've done here is we've added our questions in using the template. We've added a contact information page, and we've added a thank you page. And just to kind of give you guys a quick look at what we're doing here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give you guys a quick look after we go into the design phase, because I want you to see this first so you can see kind of how this thing plays out. So remember we talked before about build, design, configure, and publish. So once you're done building, you add your questions, you add your contact info screen, you add your thank you page, you're done building, right? You can literally go put this out there and get people to answer it right away. But the next step, if you want to make it look better, then you go over to the design. The cool thing is that by using the template, most of the stuff is already done for you, right? And so this is what it's going to look like on your screen. So what you can do is you come over here and you can edit the way that this thing looks as you to make it look, again, totally customized. So the way you do it, so you notice your company name is probably not ABC Coaching, right? So what you want to do is upload your own logo. And the way you do that is, what I just did is I clicked on header, and then you can just choose a logo from your desktop. You can also add a Facebook button-like and some header text if you want. But if you don't want to use ABC logo, you just hit the delete button over here and upload your new logo. The next step is you can edit the footer. So you can turn on footer navigation, so you can put on terms of service, your privacy policy, and a contact page. And the way you do that is you just turn that on. It's already turned on. So you come over here, and you'll need to link this to your own terms on your own website, right? So if you got your own .com, you've got your service page, you can come over here and put the link to that. Same thing with your privacy and your contact page. These are really good to have if you're going to be putting stuff on Facebook, LinkedIn, places like that where they want to make sure their users are taken care of. So that's a good idea to have that on there. If you don't need it, though, you can always just turn off your footer navigation here, and it'll get rid of this menu. You can also come down here if you don't want to have a powered by bucket logo on there. You can just come right over here and turn that off as well. Let me see here. Don't make the mistake. Here's another thing too. Pro tip. I've done this a million times. I still do it to this day. And I almost did it just now, but I caught myself because I knew I wanted to tell you guys this. So when you're done editing one of these screens, like in this case is the footer, right? Make sure you click this little back arrow here, not this one up here. Because you click this one, it's going to take you all the way out. If you click this one, it just takes you back to this other screen. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but I literally was like half a second away from clicking that. You're going to do it, and you're going to be all like, oh, come on. So all you got to remember is black arrow, and that'll take you back to this screen. Notice we've got this cool kind of hipster business guy background image here. You can edit that as well. Just come over here, click delete, and the delete button, and upload your own, and boom, you've got your logo, your cool background, and you are ready to fly. All right? So let's take a quick look at this just so you guys can see what's happening here. So what we did is we added this, you'll have edited your logo, you've got your question here, they'll type in, it's a mandatory question, so they'll type in, and then which of the following best describes your age. Remember we edited that. I'm in my 20s. Also notice, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but where I deleted the others, you can see where it deleted them out. You've got your another question here, and the cool thing, I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but as soon as they click the radio button, it moves them to the next question. So that actually improves conversions by a lot. When they're not having to click a button, then click next, click a button, then click next. It just moves them through super smooth. And then you've got your contact info screen. And they can put their phone number in here, hit continue, and you got your thank you page. So that is a million times easier with the template, right? All we have to do is edit the questions out. We don't necessarily have to go and build it from scratch and come up with ideas all on our own. But you can add more questions, remove questions, and do all those edits. And so that is how you build and design your survey funnel or your discovery survey. The next step here, that third phase, remember I told you we're at the configure phase. And just so you guys know, I'm not going to go like through each one of these for the segmentation funnel because it's all basically the exact same for each one. There's a couple of differences. That's why this one's going a little bit long. One thing I want to point out here is this, we're on the configure screen. So we're at that third phase, right? We've done the build, we've done the design. Now we're going to do the configure. Now, the important thing to remember on this page, and I call it one of the most important things, is this name. Change the name. You don't want a bunch of copy of Discovery Survey ABC Coaching Services, right? What you always want to do is you want to have, here's what I always say to do. Make it something that you instantly recognize. Always. Because no one else is going to see this. It says your Discovery Survey name, your customers, your audience, they will not see this name. So make it something like you'll be able to know right off the bat, like, I don't know, what is today? The 28th, 11/28 survey to so and so, right? Now I know this is the 11/28 survey to so and so. And I'll know that immediately, so I'll know, so if I have, 10, 15 different surveys back there, or as you guys saw earlier, 50 plus, I know exactly where to go to look for what I'm looking for. The next most important thing over here on the configure page is this area here, meta information, right? What you want to make absolutely sure of is that you edit this, because if you don't, people are, when you paste a link on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram, anywhere you put this link, sometimes even in email, if you put this link out there, this is what people are going to see. And so you want to make sure you edit it to fit exactly what you're doing. So if you're offering something, like what we talked about earlier, a discount to your e-commerce store, say, get a 40% discount, right? On, you know, so and so. That's the action. That's what to expect, right? And then in the description, you will just describe what they're going to get and just tell them, hey, answer a few short questions and get this awesome thing. This is where your marketing starts for your survey or your segmentation funnel, is right in here. Because I'm telling you, if you send a link out and it says discovery and then, you know, like this, people are going to be like, what the heck is that? I don't care about that. Why would I click on that? So you want to make it very relevant to them. The next thing that you see over here is this target number of responses. As you can see, it defaults to 250. That's kind of like that threshold for the best number of responses to get on a survey. But you can, number one, you can have way more than 250 or way less. Basically what Bucket does is they take the number that you put in here and they tell you how close you are to hitting your target or how over it is. So you know pretty much how your survey is performing. But yeah, like I said, I mean, if you wanted it to be 100, you do that. You know, 25,000 if you wanted to. I mean, it depends on what you want it to be. It just defaults to 250. Again, industry standard kind of thing. Notice here, and you saw this earlier. Here, let me just do a quick refresh. That we start this survey off with a progress bar up here at the top. And what happens is you have control over starting it off as far ahead as you want. You can start it off at 50%. We started off, I think it was like 30-something%. The genius behind adding a progress bar that's already kind of like pretty deep into completion at the beginning is it makes people feel like they're not about to spend their entire morning filling out your survey, right? Because nothing worse than when you get to a survey and you're like, oh God, is that $15 Amazon card worth it? And then it takes like an hour and a half of your time to fill it out, right? If right off the bat, if you let them know, hey, guess what? This is only going to take, you know, you're almost done. Then they're much more likely, at the very least, to complete that first important question, right? Which is why they say put the big open-ended question up front. If it looks like it's not very much, and they fill at least that one in, then you've got yourself some information to work with. So that's why this is set up this way. You can definitely turn it off if you want to, or you can leave it turned on. Again, you can also add an image over here, and this is going to act kind of like you remember I told you earlier with the marketing, you got your title, your description. You can also add kind of a catchy image to improve the click-through rates to your survey or your segmentation funnel. All right, so we talked a little bit earlier about direct integrations. I told you we have Drip, MailChimp, Ontraport, Infusionsoft. Did I miss anything? No, that's it. That's 4. So what do you do after you add your direct integration in? Is you come over here, and let's just say you're probably not going to end up with a bunch of these. You might just have 1, maybe 2. You come over to the ESP, email service provider, that you want to integrate with. Click on Integrate. And then what you do is you choose whatever list you want the emails to go into. So this one I've got Jeremy's bucket on MailChimp. And then what you're going to do is you're going to map the responses to the right fields in your email service provider, right? So what I mean by that is on the contact information page, see this is where it says assign the merge information for your contact info page. So we've got for merge field for email address, we choose email. For name, we would come over here and choose fname. And for phone, looks like we don't have a phone field inside of MailChimp, but if we did, we would choose phone. We'll just pretend birthday is phone. I mean, you don't have to have one, but if you want that information to pass over to your email service provider, you would I would jump over to, in this case, I would jump over to MailChimp, create a field called phone, come back over here and choose phone, right? Does that make sense? Now, this is where you can add the rest of the information from the survey or the segmentation funnel into your email service provider. So what you do here is where it says merge tag mapping, assign or create additional tags or merge fields for each question response. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click add mapping. I'm going to choose let's say question number 2, which of the following describes your age? And then I would just call this birthday, right? I would probably have a field called age instead of just birthday. But for now, again, just so we have something here to play with, I would do birthday, and then I'm in my 20s. I would put 20s, 30s, 60s, right? So that based on whatever answer the person chooses here, that value is going to go into this field on my email service provider. Okay? So that way, no matter what they choose, everything that they choose can get sent over to MailChimp. Same thing with question 3. If we were to create a paid program, then I would just choose, the paid program, whatever field over here. And then just do the same thing that I did here. Add those in, and then based on what they chose, that's what gets sent over to my ESP. And it works almost identically through them all. There's a few little nuances for each one, but you'll recognize them if you're, like say for Entreport or Drip or Infusionsoft. If you use those services, you'll recognize what to do with them, kind of like you do here with MailChimp, right? I haven't checked over if there's any questions. I'm sure there are. I will definitely be answering questions on this shortly. Anything else besides MailChimp, Drip, Infusionsoft, and Entreport, you'll be using Zapier. And if you're not familiar with what Zapier is it's like a bridge. It connects different web applications together. So bucket.io is a web application. Your email service provider, ActiveCampaign, GetResponse, Aweber, whatever else you're using out there, it's also a web application, right? And so if we don't have direct integration, you use Zapier to connect the two. I'm not going to go through a full Zapier setup here. We've got a really good help system on connecting your email service provider to Zapier. If you click on Help, I think the best one is over here in Integrations. And then you just come over here and connect, just kind of go through the Zapier stuff. Another good one, I think, also, if you're keeping notes, another good help file for that is in the webinar replays. I want to see if it's still there. Yes, how to integrate Zapier. Honestly, I'm only calling it the best one because I've sent it to so many people and they've been able to, get through their integration a lot easier. So if you're having problems with Zapier, just understanding the concept, understanding how it works, what I just did is I went to Help, I clicked on Webinar Replays, and I went to this How to Integrate Zapier because it's an hour long. It's an hour, so you'll want to probably watch it at 1.5 speed on YouTube. But the good news is that it covers everything that you'll need to know about connecting your Zapier. All right. Just a couple of other things I want to point out on your configuration before we move on to reports. You've got your Facebook pixel here. You can just turn this on and paste your Facebook pixel in so that you can start building your audience, building your retargeting as people go through your survey or your segmentation funnel. You can add field logic, which lets you customize the response or customize your questions based on previous answers. You can add your Google Analytics, and then you can, if you're doing any kind of affiliate marketing or if you're doing a lot of paid advertising, you can also use UTM variables. Each one of these I'm not going to go deep on. I just wanted to point out these screens for you so you know you can do the things. We do have comprehensive help on each one of these screens in this help. Again, here's what I would say. If you get in somewhere and you want to figure something out, there's two places I would look. I'd go straight to the help. I would always first go to the webinar replays, honestly, because as soon as we come out with new cool stuff like we're going to do tonight with the templates, we go super deep into those topics and tell you pretty much how to use it, what to use it for, who else is using it, some examples. You'll get that over in the webinar replays. Okay, so that's just another little pro tip for searching uh, the help, go to look in the webinar replays, and you're almost always going to find the answer to your problem. All right? Now, once you're done with the configuring, so what we've done so far, let's recap. We have built, added the questions, thank you pages, all that. We've got that created. We've just hit the design where we put our logo up, background images, make sure everything looks the way we want it to. You've got the configure screen where we added, the marketing for the links. We've renamed our survey to be something we can easily find later, and I'll show you how important that is here in a second. And we've kind of done all the configuring. It's got it connected to our email service provider. Now it's time to publish. Publish. That's a new word. I mean, publish. We're going to go publish. And what happens when you publish, I'm going to hit no discard changes. Because I did a bunch of craziness. So we hit publish. Now you notice there's a couple of options here. You've got full page or button. Most of us are going to be using full page, right? What that means is when we hit publish, Bucket's going to give us a link to send out an email or go paste on Facebook or wherever we're going to put it, right? If you have like a home page or a blog post or something like that, you can click button. And instead of giving you a link, what Bucket will do is they'll generate you an HTML button, right? So you can go paste that button on your blog post or on your homepage if you want to. But like I said, most of us, we're just going to leave this full pager chosen. Then what we're going to do is we're going to choose a domain for your survey. Like I told you before, you get Bucket has 1, 2, 3, 4 free ones that you can use. But if you really want to get fancy and you plan on doing, like I said, if you plan on paying for advertising to your survey, I recommend you getting a custom domain name for it. But if you just want to throw something out to email or slap something up on Facebook, then you can do like any one of these. So we've got Bucket surveys, and then scroll down here and slide this over to publish. If you don't have a welcome page, Bucket will say, hey, if anything's missing on the build screen, they'll say, hey, hold on a second. And you can either go and add it in or just click I understand, publish anyway, and boom. You get this link here, and so what you'll do is you'll hit this little copy button. This is the link you'll be pasting out and sending out to your audience. You'll go put this on, like this link you'll go paste on Facebook. You'll go put this link in your email. You'll put it wherever you plan on putting it in front of people. That's the link you'll use, and it'll take them straight to your survey to start filling out. Making sense? All right, so it's about 9:45. The good news is, guys, is we covered pretty much every major thing that we need to look at for the segmentation funnels. There's one extra thing I need to go in and look at with you guys, just so you have it. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to jump back over here. I'm going to close this and this. And so what I want to look at with you guys really quick is I want to look at the reporting, all right? So I'm going to click on Discover Surveys, and I want to show you guys what happens when people start filling out your surveys, all right? Now, notice what I forgot, since I didn't hit save on the configure part, notice I've got this copy of Discover Survey. Imagine how much of a nightmare that would be if all these were named the same thing. Remember what I told you earlier? I like to put a date and then like just a real simple, easy to understand name on my survey. So if someone asks me, hey, where do I get the link for this? Then I just come over here and say, oh, it's right here. But what I'm going to do, I want to look at real quick with you guys is the reporting. Okay. So if you want to look at the responses that are coming in on your survey, what you're going to do is you're going to find the survey you want to look at the report for, and you're going to click on, see here where it says Analytics. You're going to click on Analytics, and then Bucket immediately shows you how your survey is performing. So you can see here, out of the number of people who saw this survey versus the number of people who answered it, was 58.4%. So 58.4% took the survey. Out of the people that completed it once they started it was 100%, right? and I don't have an opt-in on it, so that's at 0. But if you have a contact information screen, that'll tell you what your conversion rate is on your opt-ins as well. It also shows you kind of like how it's performing for each of the questions that you ask. This is just a one-question survey. So what I want to show you guys with the kind of like the big thing here is this word cloud, right? So if you're not familiar with how a word cloud works, well, basically what Bucket's doing is it's taking every one of those open-ended questions and it's analyzing the words. And the more times a specific word is used, the larger it'll appear on your word cloud. So you can start seeing, some of these words here that people are looking for in your market. So for instance, when I ask somebody, what did I ask them here? I think it's something to the effect of like, tell me how we can better help you, right, with Bucket. And so, what are some of the things we get here? Well, examples, right? That's a big one. Email help. Studies, which I'm guessing is probably like case studies, right? Webinars. Support. And again, you start seeing some of these kind of outliers where you're like, okay, these are some of the things that we need to give people. Like, these are the problems that they're having. This is what we need to offer. One of the things you can also do, notice that I've got a number of words is 1,345. That's a lot. That's a lot of words. And that's why you're probably seeing some things that are probably cut out here. So what you can do is you can slide this bad boy over if you want to kind of, force out some of the words. And I'll just try to drop it down here so you guys can see now what's happening is some of the other kind of the more important words start popping up, right? You're not as inundated with stuff that you're having to read through. Again, examples obviously is a big one. Support obviously a big one. Segmentation, software, quizzes. These are all kind of words that are starting to pop up, right? Another thing that you can do is click on this little kind of down arrow key and get rid of some words. So if you uncheck like, more, doing, am, good, no, just some of the, like some of the words that obviously aren't going to really be that helpful, and. So then what happens is as you start removing those words, well, oh my goodness, now we start seeing training. People want more training. Case studies. I'm like almost 99% sure that's for case studies, and webinars. And again, you're starting to see how the words start forming, how I can start making decisions based on what people are telling me in this word cloud. Plus, you can also go in to get context on some of those things over here to your responses. You just click on responses and you can bring those in. You can also export those. Click on export here, and it'll send you an email with the CSV with all your responses in it so you can open it up in your favorite spreadsheet. And so that's how you analyze a survey. So that's the reporting that Bucket gives you so that you're not just asking people a bunch of questions, getting a bunch of responses, and looking at it like, okay. You actually get a lot of assistance from Bucket to tell you, hey, these are the ones you need to pay attention to. Here's some of the words that are coming up so you're not looking for a needle in a haystack, right? All right. So we've looked at building and designing and publishing a survey. We've looked at the reports. What I want to walk you guys through real quick right now is also the segmentation funnel. Again, this is going to be a lot shorter because we don't have to cover all the screens. We only have to cover a couple of very important pieces of it. Because again, it operates almost exactly like a Discover survey as far as the building phases and all that. The main difference, I'm going to click on, what I just did is I clicked on segment. So Discover is for surveys, segment is for your segmentation funnels, obviously. So what we're looking at here is we'll do the same thing. We'll click on create segmentation. And again, I highly recommend, unless you've got some crazy quiz that you've already got kind of mapped out, start with a template. There's several quiz or segmentation funnel templates to choose from. You've got a segmentation, or branching logic, qualifier, and again, this afternoon I'm going to cover each one of these in detail. I'm just going to pick this one because I know this is going to show you what I want you to see. So I'm going to click on Use, just like we did before, and then Bucket's going to dump this all in here for me. So all I got to do is come in here and make some changes. Now, if you're not familiar with what a segmentation funnel is, just so you know, a segmentation funnel it's like your typical funnel where you offer something for free, they become a lead, and then you convince them to buy from you. What a segmentation funnel does is it takes that a step further and says, hey, instead of just giving everybody the same exact answer or same exact outcome or solution, why don't I find out a little bit more about who's asking for this stuff, and then tailor the solution for them specifically. So you still do the same, getting the email address, giving something away for free, but what you do is on that outcome, on the thank you page, the outcome page, whatever you want to call it, you give them a customized answer that solves the problem that they told you that they're having, right? So let me just kind of walk you through it here, and then I'm going to show you how to do it, and then I'm going to show you how to how to customize those outcomes. But why don't we just, actually, you know what, let's just start with the example itself. Discover this, this is like the promise, right? This is what you're going to get by answering these questions. Yeah, let's do it. So first of all, now remember before on our survey, we asked them kind of a similar question, right? What's your biggest challenge right now? Well, we've taken what we learned from that, right, when they were giving us their open-ended questions, and we found there were 3 major areas where these people are having issues. So now we tell them, hey, which of these are your issues? And then when they tell you, then you find out a little bit more about them, and now you find out a little bit more about them, right? So what we're doing is we're asking them these questions to find out more and more about who this person is, and then we get their, again, just like always before, we get their email address, just like a typical funnel. But now what we're doing is we're sending them to a customized outcome, right? This is awesome. I didn't know we actually did that. So there's actually, if you forget to set the outcome page, it'll tell you don't forget to change your link. That's great. I love it. So let me show you guys how this works, all right? So notice, one of the things you probably noticed when we went through is that they were all radio buttons. Remember what radio button? You can only choose one response. So each one of these is a radio button. And again, just like before, you can come in here and edit it, do what you want with it. But the big difference between a segmentation funnel and a survey is that once they choose an answer, like you got what's called an outcome-based answer, then we send them to their customized outcome. So up here we've got, when it comes to whatever your issue is, you see this little button over here that says Outcomes Mapped. You'll click on that, and then what you'll do is you drag it's already automatically done for you. It takes you to the outcome based on what they chose. So like you see here, we've got confidence, growth, and stuck, right? That's A, B, and C. And so what I want, let me just so you guys can see this in action. I'll do this. Confidence. And then what you'll do here, so what I'm doing, these are the outcome pages, right? This is the thank you page that they're going to go to. You can either do an external redirect to a page that you already have created, or you can build that inside of Bucket. And just come over here, and you'll notice it looks exactly like the thank you page from the Discover survey. I'm just going to discard those. Confidence. What was the other one? Growth and stuck. I'm just going to show you guys this real growth and stuck. Oops, wrong one. And all right, it's just the reason I wanted to change these for you guys real quick so you can actually see what I'm talking about up here on this question when you're doing the mapping. It's kind of hard to tell at the template level because they all say change the thing. So what you'll do is you'll come back up here, and just so you can see, this is how the template's already done this for you. But what you can see here is that confidence goes to the confidence thank you page, right? If they choose confidence as their issue, then you're going to take them to a page where you can explain how your product will solve their confidence problem, right? Same thing with growth. You can solve their growth problem with your product. Stuck, same exact thing. So basically what they choose here, it's already mapped to the outcome, the thank you page, the customized solution to whatever problem they told you they're having up on this question. Does that make sense to everybody? And then you would just customize those here. And then everything else, like I said, the design, exactly the same. Look, the screens are identical. Configure, you do the exact same things that you did with the Discover survey, with your email service providers and Facebook and all that stuff. And publishing is identical as well. And that's it. Literally, just if you're using the templates, you're going to find that it's going to be a lot faster just to change a few of the questions. All the kind of configuring is pretty much done for you, and then all you got to do is make sure you customize the questions, change the look, and hit that publish button and start promoting your segmentation funnel or your survey. Again, and I want to kind of try to get over to your questions because I know I pretty much haven't answered a single question, and I went a little bit long. I kind of got off script there at the beginning. But just again, to summarize, the Discover survey gives you the market insight and the language to use, as you guys can see, right? When we ask the questions in the beginning, we take what we learned and we apply it to a segmentation funnel. So we get the people that are coming into our funnel to the right place based on what they've told us before. And that's going to get you those higher conversions on both the opt-in side and definitely on the sales side. So let's do this. I'm going to go through this Q&A. I know we're pushing the edge of the time that you guys are here. I don't want to keep you. What I do definitely want to do is I want to get you guys a link to work with a one-on-one with a bucket specialist. Like I said, it's totally free, and it's totally for you if you are a bucket.io customer. I don't care how far along or how not far along you are. If you've got a specific question or you feel blocked in any way, or if you really, honestly, if you just want someone to look at what you've done already, even if you don't feel blocked, you want to use this call. Because, again, like I said before, the bucket specialists, myself included, we've looked at hundreds of these things. We've seen what works. We've seen what doesn't work. We've pretty much helped people over every hurdle out there. If you just want, and the way it is, it's not a phone call. It's what happens is you get on a Zoom meeting. If you're not familiar with Zoom, it's like a web conferencing software where you can share your screen. You get someone like myself to look over your shoulder while you're clicking around. We say, no. Put that there. Do that there. Try that. Add that. Get rid of that. That kind of thing, right? And so if you're in a position right now where you don't even know what you don't know, again, I cannot recommend this enough. It's totally free. It's 15 minutes, very specific. I've rarely seen a problem that didn't get solved on those 15-minute calls. Okay? It gets you on track and gets you moving forward, which is important, right? There's a lot of softwares we end up out there just paying for month after month after month, and we're not even using. Bucket doesn't have to be that kind of thing because you've got someone who will literally say, oh, look, do these things, and this thing will start paying for itself. So you'll have that peace of mind that it's working right, you're doing it right, and you're going to be up and running. I'm just going to leave these here. You can feel free to read these awesome testimonials about this service. Again, totally free. It's not like you're not going to get on the call and someone's going to try to sell you something. It's literally just solving your problem, 15 minutes or less. It's better than Geico. So what I'm going to do is let me jump over here, and I'm going to get you guys a link. Does anybody want this, by the way? I'll ask. Does anybody want me to put this link out here? Yes, Bob does. Marco does too. Alrighty. Alright. I was going to do it anyways, but since you guys are so emphatic about it, I'll grab this link. Make sure. And I'll put it in the chat. So let's do this. I'm going to make sure you guys can see this. Can you guys let me know real quick if you can see this link in the chat, please? Julie Stewart. I recognize that name. All right. All right, cool. You guys can see it. Well, go ahead and schedule that call. Julie, I haven't seen you in forever. We should definitely connect. And let's see. I've got that. All right. So here's what I'm going to do now, guys. There's a lot of questions. And so I am going to go through these questions. All right. So you guys can, if you want to take off, you can. If you want to stick around, if you've got more questions, you can keep adding questions in if you like. I'm going to take the next few minutes and just go through and answer some of this stuff. And feel free to add more in. I'll be happy to stick around until it's all answered. So, okay. David asked, can you have more than one custom domain? We talked about that earlier. Absolutely, you can have as many custom domains as you want. And you just do it over in settings. Here, let me close these things, you guys. So you come over to settings, click on custom domains. So just so you guys know, it takes 24 hours for it to kick in so that you can access it in your funnel or in your survey. So if it's something you want to do, just don't be trying to do it last second. Just come over here, add custom name. Basically, you'll follow the domain setup instructions. Step 2. There's an actual step that says follow the directions. So follow those directions. You will get it set up in no time. It's super easy. All right. Can you set the thank you page as a redirect on another page? You can on the funnels. You cannot on the surveys. So that's another big difference. On a thank you page for survey, you only get a thank you page. But on the outcome pages, like I pointed you guys earlier, so let's pull up that template real quick. On the segmentation funnel, your thank you pages can be redirected. You click external redirect, put the link for that specific outcome, and you can do it. Otherwise, you can do it just like an outcome page, and you can edit it. Just like on the survey. The ability to remove. Oh, yeah, no. If you're paying for something, you don't want to. We know, right? You don't want to always be tagging it. Again, the thing I love about Bucket is literally, if you're like me and you do stuff for people, right? You don't want anything to look the same as it did on the other guy. You want it to look crisp, professional. And that's what I love about Bucket. Any one of these funnels can look totally different from the other. How do you integrate with ActiveCampaign? Marco asked, how do you integrate with ActiveCampaign? The way you do the integrations with anything that's not in the 4 that I talked about earlier, you come over to Configure, you come over to Integration, and then you'll go over and you'll add the new integration in Zapier. There are Again, guys, there's a ton of that's a topic, right? That's like a full-blown topic, but that's how you do it. I would go into help and walk through that. What are hypers and non-hyper responses? Okay, I guess that's probably from the reporting section. So let me explain that real quick. Okay. Let's do this. Discover. I'm just going to bring this back up. And let's click on Analytics. So what you probably are referring to, I'm guessing, is where it says hypers and non-hypers. So by default, what Bucket does is it shows you everything together, right? So that you can just get a full look at what everyone's saying in your word cloud. If you click on hypers and non-hypers, this will kind of break it down to where you can see one versus the other. So the hypers are always going to be on top, non-hypers are on the bottom. Now what that means, a hyper response is someone who, based on Bucket's analysis on that response, tells you if that's someone you really, if it's a hyper, that's someone who is someone who's most likely to be your best customer, right? They're the one that's going and opening up their soul for you to look into and find out exactly where they're coming from, right? They're the ones when you look at the responses. Let's go look at these responses. See where it's got hyperscore? This person literally went and answered all kinds of information for us on that. Same thing with this one. Same thing with this one. Like, you've got these people that are just filling out, big time responses. This is the stuff you love to see, right? You love your customers giving you this stuff. And so what Bucket does is it tells you their score, calls them a hyper. If as you start getting kind of lower on the list here, you start noticing, you've got the size of the responses start going down. This person says, by not asking me this very same question every time I. It's actually, you know what? That's something to pay attention to, though. But anyways, so that's funny. Anyways, that's the difference between a hyper and a non-hyper. The hyper responses are the ones that are really filling it out. The best practice is to pay specific, closer attention to those, but you want the non-hypers in so you can catch those kind of outliers, kind of like that one that I just read off, right? So that's the difference. Please double check the links you're sending us for the webinar opt-ins. Sometimes they don't work correctly. That's good to know. Thank you for that. Can you go over the difference between exit, splash, and entry in segmentation publishing? Yeah, okay, so what you're referring to is on the publishing side of the segmentation funnels. Let me jump back over to segmentation. Edit. Publish. All right. So you notice we've got all these options. So, okay, so we talked about the button in the full page, right? It's the exact same with these others. So exit, what Bucket will do is they will generate an HTML code for you that you can go paste on your website so that when someone tries to leave, it'll pop up, hey, are you this or that, right? If it's a segmentation funnel, you can say, you can just go straight to the question, hey, before you leave, are you sure you don't want us to help you? Are you this type of person or that type of person, right? That's how the exit would work. Splash page is the reverse of that. Splash page is usually right when they hit your site, it pulls up a full splash page and says, hey, take this segmentation, answer this question. Also with the entry page. Basically, the only difference is the customization of the HTML code that Bucket spits out for you. All right. Okay. I thought at the event it was announced that ActiveCampaign was integrated. Well, honestly, I wasn't there. But let me check. I mean, I didn't even know Drip was integrated, so I literally clicked on it earlier. It looks like it's not there yet. If they announced it, my guess is that it'll be very, very, very soon. I know it's been requested a lot, so I would say it would be very soon if it's not there already. Yeah, okay. Julie says they said it would be a few weeks for ActiveCampaign. So, again, I know they're trying to burn through those as quickly as possible. We want to get you guys off of Zapier and onto the direct integrations. So we are furiously at work, or at least the smart guys are, the programmers. All right. So do we have any other questions? We're about 10 minutes after. You know what, guys? I really appreciate you for sticking around. I know I kind of, like I said, I have a tendency to talk. And kind of, like I said, go off script a little bit. I think there's some things that I've noticed that I think we want to, just kind of cover. But if you guys have any more questions, go ahead and fill them in now. If not, have a wonderful day. And it's so great to see you guys. And like I said, tonight we're going to go deep into the templates. What I'll be doing is I'll be kind of covering what each one does. I'll show you kind of how to figure out which ones you need to use. Because we've done a lot of work on the back end, right, to make sure before you choose one, we explain what it does, and I'll show you guys how to figure that out and how to navigate it so that you've got the best template, how to customize each one. We kind of looked at that today in this call, but there's some other cool stuff you can do to it. So wonderful to see you all. Have a great day. If I do see you this afternoon at 4, wonderful. If not, guess what? We're going to record it for you so you can catch it later if you aren't able to attend. All right? Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.